Hey guys, welcome to a Sunday market review. This one's probably a little bit different to normal just because it's also the end of the month. So this only happens 12 times a year, which is fairly exciting because now we've got monthly price action to consider in our analysis. So we're going to jump on the charts. There's a few that I've had a bit of a look at, I'm pretty excited about. So I'm going to take you through some monthly price action first of all. And like I said, that happens 12 times a year. And it's not always on the weekend, mind you. So it's good that it happens on a weekly close and a monthly close. So look at some monthly price action, then we'll drop down to some weekly and daily and we'll see where we go from there. All right guys, join me on the charts, we'll see how we go. Alright guys, let's get into it. There's 4 charts in particular that I'm looking at the moment, all fairly exciting. So what I'm going to do, because it's the end of the month and there's a monthly close, we've got that extra price action as confirmation, so I'll just take you through that and we'll start from the month and we'll go down to the weekly and the daily and we'll see what we can find as we head into these charts. Alright guys, let's take it from the top. Alright, so we've got a monthly chart here, we're on Aussie New Zealand and price has been nice and bearish throughout the month. It's closed. It's certainly not a bullish bar. There's plenty of room for movement to the downside, I would have thought, and I would look to be aiming at price levels down here. We've got some nice support in here on a monthly chart. I wouldn't expect price to just open and push down into those levels. I'd expect some retracement. As you see here, see the last monthly close, price generally opens, comes up, messes around for half a week or a week, and then it pushes down and does what it needs to do. So I'm pretty comfortable that we've got a bearish market overall from a monthly's perspective. And I'd just like to see it meander up back through here. Alright, so we'll just drop down to a weekly chart for a second. Now this is really good. This is extra confirmation for me. So we've got a bit of a bullish close here, I think. I mean, it's still a bearish bar, so the close is below the open well and truly. But price has come down and tested fairly deep into this bar. It's come back and closed fairly high. So what I'd be expecting, guys, is price to open and just meander down a bit and then come back up into these levels. Which if we went back to the monthly chart, you'd see that was a nice retracement into about halfway up that monthly bar, and then price would like to push short from there. Okay, so we'll just drop down again. Now price action itself here is bearish, but if we just have a look at it, I think this is a phase 1 down, a phase 2, then another phase 1. So I think we're really looking for price to come back up into these levels, and if we drop down quickly to H4, you'll see it a lot more clearly. So H4 here. Excuse me, open that up a bit. Alright, so here it's nice and clear, guys. Sorry, just go back to the daily just for 1 second. Remember, we talked about, I think it was Tuesday last week, we had a big heads and shoulders pattern here. So at left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. So price has come through the neckline, clearly closed outside the neckline. I was expecting price to bounce a couple of times here and come and test this neckline. It hasn't done that. It's continued on the downside. So it is a very bearish market at the minute. But I am expecting price to come back up now and test these levels. So if we drop back to the H4, like I said, inside this full target, so we've got the phase 1, phase 2, phase 1, and phase 2. So I'm expecting price to come back up to here. And earlier I put a Fibonacci on this chart, so we're looking for a retracement. And look at this, guys. Bang on the 61.8, right at this level here, which is one we identified earlier. So I'm expecting price to come into this 61.8 Fibonacci level, right as it comes across this trend line. So price will just mess around in here for 3 or 4 days. It'll do whatever it likes in here, and then I'm expected to come up into here, and then either in a daily or a H4, I'd like to see some nice price action, and then I'd like to get short, and then we go back to the daily chart, and our full heads and shoulders target, remember, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, the full target is down here, guys. So if we get some nice price action here, we've got a nice short market, got a lot of weight in the market with a big pattern, and we've got 250 pips to carry our trade down. So that would be a nice trade. So I'm waiting on that. It might set up this week, it might be the week after, but I'll be watching this every morning at the very least, and then probably 3 or 4 times a day throughout on H4, certainly as it approaches that neckline right in here on our H4. Alright guys, I am going to skip across to the Pound Aussie, which is another nice chart that I've been looking at. So monthly chart. So monthly, I think pound against everything is still a bullish market. So yes, I am saying that I'm potentially trading a phase 2 on a monthly chart in the coming weeks, which is okay. But you can see on the Pound Oz on the monthly chart, we've got a big phase 1 up, a phase 2, then I'm looking for another big phase 1 up, which corresponds with these levels here. So over here, guys, this is pre-Brexit. This is where we had this big drop-off a little while back now. I'm expecting price over the next 18 months to come up back into those levels. So on the weekly chart here, and we just zoom out a little bit, if you follow this, we've got a horizontal support resistance line through here. So here we've got resistance, resistance, becomes support, more support. The Brexit broke it a while back, and now we've come back up. So this is a very key level because this is post-Brexit. So the market is really unsure of what it wants to do here. And on weekly, as you can see, we'll just zoom in a little bit. Price has really pushed hard in the last couple of weeks, and it's gone a fair way up. I think it was around, 750, 60 odd pips. So a fairly big push up. And with these couple of bullish bars, you would have expected a continuation through this post-Brexit level. But price really cooled off. It tested it, but it's come back and closed below that level. This is a nice bearish signal. It's on a high time frame weekly. A mentor of mine years back used to tell me the higher the time frame, the stronger the price action. I certainly stand by that these days. I believe it for sure. I've tested it many, many times. So a weekly bearish close like this is good sign for me. So what I want to do is, we talked also last week about retracement entries. I'm expecting price to open up without a gap here on Monday morning, and price to come back up into about the 50% to the 61.8% retracement of this pin bar, and then get short back into the ease areas. So if we drop down to a daily, that's my target there. So what a trend line coming through here. So touch 1, touch 2, touch 3. Remember, on a weekly, this was our pin bar for short, so I'm expecting price to come up into these 50% retracement and then get short down into these levels before it continues on its bullish run on the monthly chart on that bigger phase one that we talked about earlier. So let's have a quick look at what sort of amount of pips. So from there, if we get a good entry, 490 pips. So you can get a 30 or 40 or 50 pip stop loss in there somewhere, guys. You can have a nice trade on your hands. All right, across on the pound CAD, we had some success on pound CAD last week. I think it will continue on. So monthly, again, doesn't look like much on monthly. I think it's probably a fairly bullish cycle still on monthly. But come back to weekly, and we've got this nice evening star pattern here, guys. Got a big push up. We've essentially got a doji, and then we've got, in terms of candles, this is an engulfing bar. If you trade bars, it's not an engulfing. It just depends how you interpret this bar, but it's still a very bearish close, regardless of what the interpretation is. Again, I would like to see price open and just come up into some sort of retracement of this nice bearish bar, then push down. We drop back into daily, it becomes a lot clearer. This is phase 2 trading, guys, so it comes with a caution. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 1. I'm expecting price to meander back here, get some nice price action. So we'll be trading this phase 2, and then later we'll analyze this closer, but I'm anticipating some price action in here and then another big push long. So we'll see how that goes, guys. But we'll just again have a quick look how many pips are available from here down to here. 355 pips. So again, a reasonably tight stop, 30, 40, 50 pips. You got 350 pip range in there. Again, you got a nice trade on your hands. At 50 pips, you got a 7% trade. At 30 pips, you got a 10% trade. All right, now we'll just skip across to the last one that I've been interested in. And this is, what have we got here? USDCAD. All right, so monthly, look at this, guys. A nice bearish pin bar. It's pushed all the way up into here and it's come down and closed low again. And this close here is lower than this close here. So it's actually been able to close down inside these levels, which is good. If we drop back onto the lower time frames, we'll see in a minute, but this has basically been a big downtrend through here. I would have liked to have seen, this is a weekly chart, guys, I would have liked to have seen price come up and actually touch this trend line. It didn't quite push far enough up, but I'll take it as a monthly bearish price action, even though I would have liked to have seen another 100 pips or so here. If we go to monthly, you can see this nice pin bar, and I'd expect it to come down. So back to weekly. Stay with me, guys. Back to weekly. And then I think we're anticipating price to come back down at these levels, ready for another bounce to come up and break here potentially. But if we get back to daily, so remember this was our monthly pin bar, but now on daily we've got, and this is what we talked about last Tuesday, we started talking about here somewhere. We're anticipating left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. Now in here somewhere I think we anticipated this move, and it's starting to come through. So if we get the top of the right shoulder, depending on how game you are, you could start trading short from here. Or if you're a little bit more reluctant to get into something that's not quite as strong, you want to wait for this shoulder to set up, come through, break this neckline, and come down underneath and test back up in here, guys. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder, close below the neckline, break the neckline, come up, test under the neckline. Then we get price action here, and we are chasing 480 pips short. Okay, so the CAD daily range is about 120 pips, so you should be able to get a 50 to 60 pip stop loss. want to say 480 at 50, so you're talking about a 9.5% trade if you get some nice price action in on this neckline and then hold on to it down here. All right, guys, hope that made heaps of sense. They're the 4 charts that I'm very, very keen on. I love the fact that we were able to check out our monthly close. There was a lot of strong price action on weekly. I'd never trade on daily or H4 without some weekly at least, and sometimes monthly confirmation. I really like to analyse those higher time frames, and I like to do my entries on daily and H4. So I hope you guys got something out of that, and I will come back and talk to you guys probably tomorrow morning with some extra updates on the Open. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Happy trading, and I hope you both all do very, very well this week. I'll talk to you during the week. Okay, bye.